Today, we're going to continue what we have last week. Okay. We are number 3 now. At number 3, what are the characteristics of qualitative research? Okay. Okay, what are the characteristics of qualitative research? Yeah. Characteristic number 1 is qualitative research has the natural setting. Okay, natural setting as the source of data. So that means like what I said to you last time, we do not do any experiments. Yeah, because experiments means you manipulate objects, you manipulate others. Yeah, but in here, we just see the situation as it is, make observation, and from there, we get the findings. Okay. For number 2, the researcher is the key instrument. Okay, so that means in qualitative, the researcher is everything. In quanti, the key instrument is the questionnaire. All right. So whenever you want to do research, the first thing is in quantitative. The first thing what you have to do is to design a questionnaire after you know what you are going to research, you know the topics. So you have to design the questionnaire, and the questionnaire is the instrument. Yeah. For qualitative, the instrument is not the questionnaire. So the instrument is the researcher, him or herself. You know why? Because it is the researcher who does the interviewing. Yeah, he or she can ask questions and then do the probing. That means asking more questions in order to get the answers. Okay, number 3, qualitative research is descriptive. Descriptive. That means the research is trying to describe the phenomena that happened or that is happening. Okay, it doesn't make prediction. It's just to describe what happened. Okay, number 4. Yeah, meaning is of essential concern to the qualitative approach. Okay, all this characteristic is what is I cited from Bogdan and Bicklin. Yeah, Bogdan and Bicklin is a book. You know, if you want to understand qualitative, you have to read. Yeah, because it is a very fundamental reading for qualitative. Okay, so we go to the detail of each of the characteristics. All right. Okay. For the first characteristics is the natural setting as the direct source of data. So whenever we do qualitative data collection, it is within the naturalistic environment. Okay. So naturalistic observation, uh, it is the data collection take place in a natural situation. So we don't control the variable. That means we don't ask the respondent to do this and that. They just be there to answer our question. So they don't have to act certain way in order to you know in order to fit in uh, uh, with the research questions. Okay. So it takes place in a natural situations. All variables are free to vary. Okay, so that means they are as they are. So we interview them and they try to give answer based on their experience, based on their viewpoints. Okay, and this is different from quantitative research. Quantitative research, if you can see, okay, here is control observations. Yeah, and this is a quantitative. some variables are controlled by the researcher. So they have something like psychology lab or experimentation in order to make intervention. Yeah. So for example, they want to see how efficient is the new technique of teaching. All right. Well, the first thing is they divided into two groups. One is the treatment and the other one is the control one. Okay, the control one is what is the usual way, but the treatment is the one that you give intervention. That means you teach new techniques there. Okay, so you take the score, and after the intervention, you take another score, post-test score, and after that, you make comparison between the two groups. Yeah. Okay, so what happened here is, okay, these are not natural. These are something that we manipulate. Yeah, because we do intervention, we do experimentation. Yeah. So what you need to understand is qualitative. We don't have any experimentation. The source of data is from natural setting. Okay. Now we go to number 2. Okay. The researcher is the key instruments. Yeah. And according to Patton, you see the Patton is another author. Yeah. And Patton says that researcher is the key instrument. Blessed are the skilled questioners. They shall be given mountain of words to ascend. Blessed are the wise questioners. They shall unlock the hidden corridors of knowledge. Okay, I will explain the meaning after this. Blessed are the listening questioners. They shall gain perspective. Yeah. Okay, the meaning is, all right. Okay, first, they shall be given mountain of words to ascend. So that means, yeah, ascend means to climb up. Yeah, to climb up. That means they need to understand. Whenever they do the research, they do the interviewing. The research need to capture meanings from informant descriptions. Yeah, the informant, that means the one that we interview. When we ask question, they answer the questions. Yeah. And from the answer question, it could be mountain of words, there could be a long answer, and the researcher have to capture the meanings from that description. So it is a challenging task. You see there are a lot of words, a lot of description, and how to break it down into themes, how to categorize in order to make us understand. Yeah. In order to fit in with the research question. So how do we do that? Yeah. So that's the challenge. Okay. For number 2. Okay. They shall unlock the corridor of knowledge. Yeah. So that means the skilled researcher will uncover the personal insight. Okay. So when we do interviewing, we ask questions, and the one that we interviewed will answer the questions, and from their answer, so we know their personal perspective, their thoughts, their thinking, their ideas, their experiences. So we know all that. Yeah. So we ask questions, and then in order to dig up more information, we ask probing questions. Yeah. To make them tell more about themselves. Okay, so that's why we say to unlock the corridor of knowledge. To unlock, that means you unlock the door, you open the door. You open the door, you uncover. Yeah, before that, you don't understand much about their perspective. But after you unlock it, you can enter into their personal knowledge, their personal domain of knowledge. Yeah. So by asking questions, we will understand their personal insight. Yeah, personal insight. Okay, and for number 3, yeah, the listening questioners, they shall gain perspective. there should be a balance, you know. As an interviewer, you ask questions, but at the same time, you try to listen. You don't spend your time by asking question all the time, because there are times when they uh, respond to your question, and their response is very very important in order for you to understand their perspective. Yeah, so the analogy that I can give you, you know, interviewing is like traveling. Yeah, travel gives you a new perspective and lets you meet some great people along the way. So by interviewing, it gives you a new perspective and let you meet great people, yeah, from the interview. So you come to know a new perspective, yeah, new perspective. So you shall gain the perspective. You understand their experience from their perspective, okay, not from your own perspective, but from their perspective, okay. Okay. Um, okay. Uh, okay, so I have explained why we say that the researcher is the key instrument. Yeah, so that means researcher is very, very important. The role is very, very important. The researcher themselves who do the interviewing. So that's why we say that the researcher is the key instrument. Okay, for the characteristic number 3, which is descriptive. Yeah, descriptive. Qualitative, okay, we do this all together. Qualitative research is descriptive, and meaning is of essential concern to the qualitative approach. Yeah, these two characteristics. So we go to the third one. Yeah. Okay, the qualitative research is descriptive. That means it tries to describe things to make you understand more about the situation. Yeah, whenever we say descriptive study, yeah, you have quantitative descriptive, you have qualitative descriptive, you know, but the nature of qualitative is descriptive. Try to describe things, you know, as much as possible, as deep as possible. And again, through interviewing, by asking questions, big questions and also small questions, you know, the researcher shall gain perspective. So that's why we can say qualitative research is descriptive research. Okay, now for the fourth one, which is the meaning. Yeah, so the meaning is of essential concern. So that means you know, when you interview people, you know, your respondent will answer it, and their answer is very very important, and you should interpret it, yeah, according what you understand. Yeah, if you can see from the quotation here, we are all meaning making machines, and the stories you believe either move you forward or hold you back, you know. So you know, we behave uh, what we are thinking, you know. We have our own perspective, we have our own understanding about life, about matters and so on. Yeah, and from our understanding we live our life. So our interpretation, that means our meaning, is very very important. Meaning is of essential concern. Yeah. Okay, for number, okay, this is the next topic for today. How quantitative or qualitative research, how different it is from quantity research. Yeah, so the answer to that is qualitative has different assumptions, different techniques, and different strategies. So that means in order to explain things, do not use the quantitative viewpoint. Why? Because qualitative has a different philosophy. Okay, different philosophies. So that's why we have different assumptions, different techniques of data collection, and different strategies in research. Okay, these are the differences, yeah, between qualitative and quantitative. On the left is quantitative, on the right is quantitative. Okay, so I read each of those. For qualitative, okay, the perspective is multiple reality versus single reality, depth versus breadth, yeah, inductive versus deductive, purposive versus random, contextual understanding versus generalization. Okay, okay, these are the explanation of each of those. Okay, the first is multiple and single reality. From our first lecture, we came to understand that qualitative is under interpretivism. That means the way we see things, yeah, because qualitative people say that realities are multiple. Yeah? For positivism, quantitative is single. Okay, so what does it mean? So it means something like this. Okay, multiple realities. Yeah. So if you see the numbers here, there are two realities based on where you are standing. Yeah. For this person, yeah, he says that this is number 6 because he is standing here and he can see clearly it is number 6, so he is correct. Okay, but for the second person, yeah, he didn't say it is number 6, it is number 9. Why? Because from the spot he is standing, it looks like number 9. Is he correct? Yes, he is correct from his perspective. Yeah. So this is multiple realities. Okay. So what about single reality? Single reality, yeah, you could only accept one opinion, one view. Yeah. And this person says it is 9. Yeah, so this person have to accept it. This is not 6, this is 9, because we are using only one perspective. That means a single reality. Okay, and then what about number 2? Yeah, number 2, for qualitative it is in-depth understanding. For quantitative it is on the surface, it is the breadth understanding. The breast is on the surface. Yeah, you don't research deeply, you are researching on the surface, just like this. Yeah, but for qualitative it is the in-depth understanding. So that's why, so whenever we do qualitative research, it involves only a few numbers of respondents. Yeah, okay, probably less than 20, probably 6, 9. Yeah, in quanti we have hundreds of respondents. In quali we have less than 20. Why? Because we try to understand and a deeper understanding of each of those. Yeah, in-depth understanding, and this is qualitative. Okay, for number 3, yeah. For number 3, yeah, inductive versus deductive. Yeah. For inductive is hill climbing. Deductive is waterfall. Yeah. You see here is a very beautiful waterfall, but it also represent the philosophy in quali. So what we do in qualitative, So what we do in qualitative is to make observation, to do the data collection, okay, to do the data collection, and from the data collection, we have findings. Yeah, we could identify the patterns when we observe. Yeah, and from there, we can build the theory. We can start with tentative hypothesis, and after that, it becomes the theory. And the theory will be referred by others. Okay, so from your research, then it becomes a theory. Okay, and this is qualitative. For quantitative, it is deductive. So you have to refer to theories. Yeah, you have to refer to theories, and then you try to make your own research, and at the end of your research you refer back to the theory whether it is in accordance with the theory or not. So that's why you have the so-called hypothesis, whether what you are researching, the result that you have found is uh, compatible, in agreement with your hypothesis or not. Yeah. So inductive versus deductive. If we go back to last week's lecture, just to refresh our mind. Okay. Okay, it's all right. I couldn't find it. All right. Okay. Here I found it. Yeah. Okay. Uh, for qualitative researchers, for qualitative research, okay, from data collection, and from data collection, we found the themes or the pattern. Okay, these are the findings. And after that, we build hypotheses. We call it tentative hypothesis. And after that, it becomes theory. So this inductive, yeah. So inductive from broader generalization, from specific observation to broader generalization. So this is a bottom-up approach, from bottom and up until up the hill here. Okay, we now we go to the next one, the deductive. So this is the quantitative one. For quantitative one, we start from up the hill. That's why we call waterfall. Okay, from the theory, okay, we understand we have theory. We refer to whenever we do a research, and after that we create hypothesis. Yeah, we determine what our hypothesis will be, and after that we make observation. That means we do the data collection, and after that, after we found the result of our study, we compare with the theory with the hypothesis. So it is the confirmation stage. Yeah. So that means deductive reasoning from more general to more specific. Yeah. Okay. And sometimes this is called top-down approach. Yeah. From the top and you go down. So that's why we call waterfall. Yeah. So the other one is climb the hill, because you are climbing from the bottom and then up to the hill. Yeah. So conclusion follows from premises, from the available facts. All right. Um, okay. The difference number 5 is in term of data collection. Yeah. In term of data collection. Okay, this is qualitative. Yeah. So whenever we pick our respondents, it is based on whether the person have fulfilled the criteria that we have for our research. Yeah. So we don't do random sampling, but we carefully select that individual because they have experienced the phenomenon, because they have knowledge in that phenomenon. Yeah. So based on our criteria, based on our purpose. So that's why we say purposive sampling. In quantitative, random sampling. Why? Because they want to make generalization to the whole population. You know, although you pick 300 out of 1000, you can still make generalization of the that 1000 population. Why? Because you follow the statistical rule. Yeah, so that's why you can generalize. Yeah. Okay. So this is the different way of sampling. Okay, you know what sampling means? Sampling means you pick certain unit of analysis. Uh, 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 in simpler language, it means we have, for example, 1,000 people, but because of we don't have money, we don't have time, we only select 300 of them, and not all 1,000. Yeah, so that 300, the respondent that we picked is called sampling. You know, it's called sampling. Yeah, so in qualitative, it is non-random, purposive. So we have reason. You know, based on our purpose, based on our criteria. Okay, this one is called snowball sampling. That means sometimes you have difficulty in finding the informants. So what happened is, so whenever you have your first few informants, you ask them to recommend other participant, other informant. Yeah. Okay, and then they recommend a new participant, and then you go and interview them. So this is the snowball sampling. Okay, in quantitative, random sampling. Yeah, random sampling. Okay, and there are four types of random sampling: simple random, clustered, stratified, and systematic. Yeah, and I think you will understand this when you have KP1. Yeah, the research method lecture on sampling. Yeah, random sampling. Okay. Regarding the question, why in qualitative we have non-random? We have non-random. Yeah, non-random. Here is random. You don't know which one, but you have to make a selection. Yeah. So you cannot deliberately select, but you have to do the random selection. Yeah. Okay. So why we do non-random selection? Yeah, why we do non-random selection? Okay, because just like a fisherman, so whenever they want to catch a fish, first they have to make sure the spot they're going to fish, they have many fish there, just to make sure that the spot they are going to fish, yeah, uh, there are many fish there. Otherwise, it is not worthwhile to go there. Just make sure that the spot have many fish. Yeah, and because of that, so whenever you go there, you can catch a lot of fish. So that's the analogy why we have purposive sampling. So whenever we want to interview people, you know, make sure that the people understand the situation, that individual understand the situation. Yeah. Uh, According to Merriam, there are two criteria. Yeah. The respondent or the informant must have two criteria. The first criteria is they experience the phenomenon. Yeah. Or they know about the phenomenon. Number two, they must be articulative. That means they can narrate their story. They can tell, yeah, their story, their personal experience. Yeah. Uh, so whenever we have these two reasons, we can do the interviewing. Okay, this is the another analogy. So whenever we are sick, we don't just go to the many doctors. Yeah, what we do is to first is to know what kind of sickness that we are having. Okay, and once we know our sickness, and then we go straight to the specialist. Yeah, to the specialist. So we have ear problem, and then go to the ear specialist. Yeah. So the analogy is, so whenever we want to make a research, yeah, the best source of data is people who understand it, people who experience the phenomena. Yeah. uh, and by doing that, we can get the actual source of data. Yeah, the actual source of data. We don't have to go to many people and then ask question. Yeah, just go to the few people, but they are the actual people who experience the truth. So we get the actual data from them. Yeah. So in qualitative study, interview is conducted to gain insight from participants who are resource rich. Yeah. So try to understand their experience from participants who are resource rich. That means they have many knowledge in that phenomenon. They have many experience in that phenomenon. Okay. All right. I think we stop until here. Yeah. The 2 points that we learned for today. After this, we have a discussion, and around 10 o'clock, we continue with our quiz. Yeah. Before I end this lecture, let me wrap up. What we have learned for today. Okay. Okay. What we have learned for today is about first characteristics of qualitative research. Okay. Okay, there are four, according to Bogdan and Bicklin, there are four characteristics. Yeah, the first one is the natural setting as the direct source of data. That means people, we observe or we collect data from people in natural setting. Yeah, so we don't set up any experiment. We don't set up any lab. Yeah, so we just interview them as they are. Yeah, we don't ask them to act or behave in certain ways. Yeah, because that's not qualitative research. Okay, number two, the characteristic number two is it is the researcher who is what we can regard as key instrument. The very important things that in a data collection. Yeah, the key instrument. Okay, characteristic number three is the nature of qualitative research is descriptive. That means try to describe as detailed as possible about the phenomenon that we are researching in. Yeah. Characteristic number four is the importance of meaning. Yeah. Meaning is essential concern to the qualitative approach. That means when you interview people, when your respondent, your informant says something, you have to interpret it. Yeah, interpret it. Yeah, because it means something. Yeah, it means something for them. Number four. Okay. Number four, How does qualitative differ from quantitative approach? Okay, you know that qualitative based on words, quanti based on numbers. So that means qualitative has different assumptions, techniques, and strategies, and there are one, two, three, four, five, six. I think more than six differences. The differences, number one, is how they see things. For qualitative, it is multiple realities. So that means whenever you interview people, you should respect the perspective of the respondents. Yeah, so they have different opinions. If you compare with yourself and with other respondents, they have different opinions, and their opinions is the reality. So there are multiple realities, and they are the truths according to their own perspective. Yeah, for quantitative, it is single reality. So that means that there is a standard that have been determined by the scientists, by the scholars. Yeah, and you should refer to that. For example, when you do research on the effectiveness of training, there is an instrument which determine whether your or what you are doing is effective or not. Yeah, so we have a standard there, and it is single reality. Okay. uh, Second one is in term of depth and breadth. For qualitative, it is in-depth understanding. So that means you try to try to get as much as information as possible from one person. Yeah. So that means you keep asking question. You have to ask question, many questions, big questions, and also small questions, and try to get example from their own experience. Yeah. For the breadth understanding, yeah, you don't have to go deep. Yeah, because what you are trying to do is to get as many people as possible. Yeah, get them to respond to your questionnaire. So the breadth understanding. Yeah. Okay, what about inductive and deductive? So remember what I said to you. Inductive is like climbing the hill. Climbing the hill. Yeah. All right. So you are researching a phenomenon. You collect the data, and after that, you get the findings. From the findings, you establish certain patterns, and that becomes your tentative hypothesis. Yeah? And from hypothesis, it becomes theory. Okay, what about the deductive one? Okay, remember, deductive one is the waterfall. The waterfall, yeah? And then from the waterfall, you have theory you are referring to, and from the theory you make the hypothesis, and it becomes the main thing in your research. Yeah, and after that you do the data collection, you get the findings, and your findings you compare to the hypothesis, your own hypothesis. So this one is deductive. Okay, what about this? This is the data collection. Qualitative, yeah, you identify people you want to interview. Who? Those who have the stories, those who have experience. Yeah, experience in the phenomenon that you are researching in. Yeah, those who have knowledge. So you deliberately pick them. But in quantitative, you do the random sampling. Yeah, so in the questionnaire, they respond by filling in the questionnaire. They don't have to type their names. Yeah, because it is biased if they do so. Okay. Okay, so it is a random. Yeah, random, we pick at random. in order to generalize to the whole population. Okay, the last one, contextual understanding and generalization. Contextual understanding, that means for qualitative, so whatever things that you found whenever you do your own research, it is relevant to that place only. It is unique, yeah. It cannot be applied to other situation unless if the context is similar. Okay, so that's contextual understanding. But in quantitative, it is generalizations. That means you only pick a few people, but you could say it represent the whole population. Yeah, uh, for the whole population. For example, you you only give your questionnaire to 300 UKM students, yeah, and based on your research of 300 students, you found that they are very good, yeah, in their study. And you could say, and you could claim that the UKM student are very good based on your research, yeah. Although it is only 300, but uh, uh, can it can generalize to the whole population. All right, okay, so unshare, and we have a discussion now. Okay, okay, we have a discussion now. Okay, please ask question